Okay, good morning everyone. Let's see if we can get this. Okay, hopefully you can see me. Let's see if we are. Yep, yeah, we are live. And I'm gonna write also here. Good morning. It's kind of early, right? Me watching this, so I understand. We are gonna be beginning in a few minutes. I'm just giving you a little bit of time to log in. Hopefully some of you will. It's already 2 minutes to 8 o'clock, so they're going to be beginning on time. Giving you 1 minute. I see, okay. I see some. Hopefully, if you can hear me, you can say, I can hear you well. Okay, so let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me. Okay. If you can hear me, say, I can hear you. Or type, I can hear you. Okay. We have 1 minute to go. All right. 8 o'clock. Remember, if you're not live, you can watch later. You can watch later. Okay, let's begin then. Let's see. The first problem says last year talent show tickets were sold for $11 each and 400 people attended. So we can write here number of tickets sold. Okay. Number of tickets sold. We can also write number of people. And here we can write profit, how much money you made. So let's put another color here. So for 11 people, we sold 400. So that's 400 people. If you multiply these two numbers, 11. I should turn the light on. I just realized it. I need a light. Alright, that's not the light. Give me 1 second, everybody. Okay, much better now. Need a light to use my calculator. Multiply 11 times 400 gives you 4,400. So he says that it has been determined that an increase of $1. So if you increase $1 here, price will cause decrease in attendance by 20 people. So 20 less people will come, so that will mean 380. This goes down 20, this goes up 12. So it's 380 times 12. That gives you 4,660. So this is more. So let's see if we go 13. That would be 360. If we go down up by 14, this goes down by 340. Right? Goes 20 people. Every time you lose 20 people here. 15, it gives you 320. And 16 people will give you 300. Okay, 17 people will give you 280. So now let's multiply these quantities to see what we get. Okay, so make sure that this one goes with that one. And this one will go with whatever I'm going to write there. This one goes with whatever I'm going to write there. Okay, so if you have a calculator, that gives you a little bit of time to write that. I'm sorry I had this message. Hopefully when I get back to school I can get rid of that. Alright, so let's multiply 13 times 360. That's 4,000. I should get my pen back. This will give you 4,680. So you keep doing more. Let's see if we go 14. 14 times 340. I'll give you 4,760. That's even more. Let's do 15 now times 320. That will give you 480. 4,800. I'm sorry. 16 times 300. That also gives you 4,800. And if you do 17 times 280, that will give you 4,760. So it already went down. So what does that mean? That the maximum is between 15 and 16. Remember, when you have a maximum, these two are going to be the same. That's why you have the same here. So somewhere in between this is going to be the maximum. So how do you get something in between? That will be $15.50. That is between 15 and 16. Now how much would it be from 320 to 15? So between these two are 20. The difference is 20. The difference is 20, so we need to be halfway, somewhere in between, because here we have somebody in between. So that will give you 310. So we need to multiply this, half of this, half that, because the maximum is between them, times 310. If you multiply that, 15 times 50 times 310, that gives you a maximum of 4,805. So this is the maximum that you will make. What ticket price will be maximum revenue? Well, the ticket price will be $15.50. That is the answer to this question, because if you go to 16, it's less. If you go to 15, it's the same. So it has to be somewhere in between. Okay, that is question number 2. Let's go to question number 3. Alright. It says the sum of the square of 2 consecutive even integers. Alright, what is 2 consecutive even integers? Consecutive even, it's one is x always, and the next one is x plus 2. Even goes every 2. It says the sum of the square, so I'm going to add these two numbers. I'm going to add them, but not add them just like that. I'm going to add the square of the numbers. So the square of the first one plus the square of the second one is equal to 452. Okay, so 452. Make sure that the volume is a little bit higher. Okay, oh, this is a square, sorry, I forgot to put the square here, the square of these two. So we're going to have to work on x plus 2. I'm going to work over here. X plus 2 square means x plus 2 times x plus 2. You can multiply this, right? That, this, and that. That will give you x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. If you simplify this, we get x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay. Now we're going to bring this back to to our original problem. So we get x squared plus, now we develop this, and that is x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 452. Now we can add this. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared plus 4x. This is an addition, it's not a multiplication, so we only do it with the x squared, equals 452. Alright, so now we got to bring the 452 this side, minus 452, right, equals 0. We can simplify this to 2x squared plus 4x. 452 minus 4, it gives you 448 negative, equals 0. Alright, so how can we solve this problem? We can do it in different ways. We can use the quadratic formula. We can, and I think this is what we're going to do, since this lesson was using the quadratic formula, right? So we're going to use the quadratic formula to solve this, which recently we were using. Okay, hopefully if you can hear me well, you can just say I can hear you well. So A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to negative 448. That's a big number right there. So the formula for the quadratic is minus B plus or minus B squared minus 4AC divided by 2A. Now we're going to substitute the values. Okay. The values are minus B, so B is 4, plus or minus B squared again, so it's going to be 4 squared, minus 4A is 2, and C is the big number, right, 448, over 2A. 2A is 2. So, alright, let's see if we can simplify this. I hate this, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to get rid of that soon when I get back to the office tomorrow. So let's start doing the ones in the top. 4 squared is 16, minus and a minus, that's going to give you a plus. 4 times 2 is 8, so it's 8 times 448. Ooh, that's a big number. It gives you 3,584, and that's going to be divided by 4. Okay, so let me go down even more, and it's going to be x is equal to minus 4 plus or minus, and we have to add these two numbers, plus 16. It gives you 3,600 over 4. Now let's find out if 3,600 has a square root, a perfect square root. So I have my calculator. Okay, square root of, let's see if it has, yeah, this number, the square root of 3,600, which is a perfect square root. Let me double check. If you have a calculator, you can double check yourself too. Is 60. We use the positive and negative. 60 over 4. So now you have two answers. One is 4 plus 60 over 4, and the other one is minus 4 minus 60 over 4. So let's take a look at what answers we have. 60 minus 4 gives you 56 divided by 4 gives you positive 14. And this is going to be negative 64, divided by 4, that will give you negative 16. So let's see what the question says. The question says consecutive, the sum of two consecutive even integers is 452. So basically you can pick any of the two questions. For example, if you pick the 14, right? If you pick the 14, this will be 14, and this will be 14 plus 2 is 16. Or let's say you pick the negative 16, which is the other answer. So this will be x plus 2. That will give you negative 14. So any of these two answers will be correct. I'm not sure which one is on the homework, but any of them will be correct. Right? All right. I don't see, if there's no questions, remember you can always rewind this. After I finish, you can watch it again and slow it down, pause it, and go at your own speed. All right. So that's basically the question there. All right. Let's go to number 3 then. If I have no question, no concerns. All right. These are the type of questions we've done before. All right. A football is punted into the air. It's basically thrown into the air, right? Somebody kicked it. It's high. It's in meters, so we know that this is meters. Let's highlight that. H is height in meters. There's a lot of mistakes here, you can see. After t seconds is given, t is seconds, by the equation this. So we know that this is the equation. How high is the ball after 1 second? We've done this type of exercises. So what would happen if I change the t to 1 second? What would be the height, right? We can write it like this. Oops, sorry, that looks like a -1. So let's put it back. What happens if I leave it like this, which is 1 second? What would happen if I substitute 4.9 instead of t? I'm going to write 1 because it says after 1 second, plus 24.5, and the t again, there's another t here. I replace it by 1 plus 1. So I'm going to put this directly into my calculator. Minus 4.9 times 1, which is the same thing, plus 24.5 times 1, which is again the same thing, plus 1. That gives you 20.6 meters. That would be the height, and that would be the answer to the first question. Okay, find the maximum height of the ball. The maximum height, because this is a parabola, the maximum height will be here in the top. So to get the maximum, sorry, I need to have the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is x minus b over 2a. I'm going to replace the values so that I can get it. Okay. The value of A is minus 4.9, and the value of B is 24.5. So I'm going to replace the values here. Instead of B, I'm going to put 24.5. And instead of A, 2 times A, I'm going to put negative 4.9. Notice that they're going to be both negative, so the answer will be positive. I'm going to use my calculator by dividing 24.5 divided by the multiplication of 2 times 4.9 negative. So that's going to give you, alright, if you divide these two things, it's going to give you positive 2.5. So this is the x is 2.5. I need to have the y. Now to have the y, I'm going to substitute 2.5 into the equation, just like I did here on the top. So I will reach out. Okay, the maximum, actually I already have the answer for those b. And when I do this, I'm going to get the answer to both questions. So let's substitute h 2.5 into the equation. 24.9, and I'm going to put 2.5 square plus 24.5 times 2.5 plus 1. So I'm going to put this directly into my calculator the way that is there, 4.9 parentheses 2.5 square plus 24.5 parentheses 2.5. So if you don't have a calculator that can do that, you can do one step at a time, and that will give you to 1 decimal. So to approximate this to 1 decimal, so that would be 31.6. Alright, so this is 31.6. Remember, the first is time, T, and this is H. So the maximum high is 31 point, oops, that came out too close. So let's erase that. That would be 31.6. And when does the ball, when, that's time, that's height, I'm sorry, height. And the time is 2 seconds, right? We forgot to put the meters here. Those are the units. When does the ball hit the ground? Well, the ball hit the ground when it gets to 0. So now we have to substitute 0 into the equation, because that's how we know that it reached 0. So instead of putting a number for t, we are going to put a 0 there. So 0 squared plus 24.5 times 0 plus 1. So if we multiply this, right, this is going to be 0 times 0 is going to give you 0. So that's not good. Let me see if I put this correctly. Okay, everything here is 0, so that's not going to be good. So this is going to give you a 0, this is going to give you 0, so it's going to give you 1 here. So when does the ball hit the when? It's going to hit the 0 when it reaches to 1 seconds. Okay, let's make sure that this is correct by using the calculator. Right? We can verify almost all the answers there. We're going to enter the exact equation as we see it there. So we're going to go to menu, and we're going to go to number, my calculator is 5. And we're going to enter the equation, minus 4.9. We don't have t, so we're going to use x squared, plus 24.5x plus 1, right? And let's see if we can get it. So this is like huge thing. So I'm going to show you a trick to get an automatic nice window. We're going to go to shift, and we're going to go to zoom. If you're watching this would be nice because you get to see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see where it says auto? So I press that, and I let the calculator do this for me. So we want to know what the maximum is, just to make sure that we did it right. And we'll go to F5, and we got maximum. Maximum is 2.5 and 31.6, which is perfect here. Okay, now we're going to go and find the roots. One root is 0. This begins here. But we are more interested on the other side. That's when the ball hits the ground. So we're going to move there. And we get 5. So it's actually, this should be 5. I'm not sure why. Okay, I got you. This is 1 second. So we did this not the correct way. Okay, I'm sorry. I got the wrong way to solve that. What we need to do is 4.9t squared plus 24.5t plus 1 equals 0. I'm sorry, not replaces, is equal to 0. And we just saw in the calculator that the root of the equation will happen at 5, 0. You can solve this by using the quadratic formula, right? And you're going to get 5. So let's see if we can use the quadratic formula. I'm sorry. A is minus 4.9, B is equal to 24.5, and C is equal to 1. The numbers are a little crazy, but we already know it's minus B is 24.5 plus or minus B squared, which is 24.5 squared. And again, you can do this in the calculator. Plus minus 4A is minus 4.9 times C, which is 1 over 2A. All right. See if we put it right. 4.9. Yeah. So we are going to do the square here. 2A is 2 times negative 4.9. Alright, so let's do the bottom first. 4.9 times 2, that gives you 9.8 negative, because it's a negative 4.9 there. Okay, let's multiply the top, and we can do that directly. Square minus parentheses minus 4.9, close that parentheses, times 1, which is not going to make any difference, and that will give you 605.15. So let's try that again to make sure that I put it right. 2.5 squared minus 4 times negative 4.9. I get a different answer, so 24.5 minus 4 times that is 600. Let me put it again in a different way to make sure that I have the right answer. I guess it's too early in the morning. 4.9 on a Sunday, right? All right, it's 619, so we have to correct that. All right, I put it in the calculator twice to make sure that I have the right one. So that would be 619.85. Perfect. So now we can get the square root of that number. If it has a perfect square root, which I doubt it, it gives you a big number here, so it's going to give you negative 24.5 plus or minus 24.896, and it continues, but we're going to approximate to that. Okay, we're going to have two answers. One is going to be a negative and going to be a positive, but because we are looking for time, we're not going to be looking at the negative. So you're going to have a 24.5 minus 24.896 divided by 9.8, and the other one is negative 24.5 plus 24.896 divided by negative 9.8. So let's see what we get on both. So it's going to be negative 24.5 divided by minus 24.896. That gives you negative 49 divided by negative 9.8, and that gives you a positive, approximately positive 5. So the next one, okay, the next one is going to be negative 24.5 plus 24.896 divided by negative 9.8, and that will give you a negative 0.04. So we are going to accept this because this is time and time is positive, and that made sense when we did it in the calculator we got the 5 here, right? So we already knew it was going to be a 5 by using the calculator, and we approximate the answer by using the quadratic formula. All right. Again, you can rewatch this and go a little faster than what I'm doing, a little slower, I'm sorry, than what I'm doing here. Okay, let's do question number 5 then. And if you're just joining us, this will be perfect time to begin and listening to question number 5. The height of h, again, this we should put that in highlight. The height h in feet of an object above the ground is given. This is a parabola again, and t is the seconds, right? It's very similar to the question we did before. All right, so we have this, a parabola that opens and it has a maximum. Okay, find the time it takes the object to strike the ground. So we're looking at the very same question when it hits the ground. When does it hit the ground? And find the maximum height. So we need both. We can use the calculator. We can use the formulas. This is the maximum and this is the ground. So we're going to do, it's exactly the same question we just did before. So let's do the maximum first. To find the maximum, we need the minus b over 2a formula. And we notice that a in this formula is minus 16 and b is equal to 64. So what we're going to do is we are going to replace these values into the equation. So we're going to get minus 64 over 2 times negative 16. There's going to be negative 64. This will be minus 32, and they're going to be positive both because they are both negatives. So there's going to be 2. So the maximum, we already know is 2. We just need to get the y because it says find the maximum height. Height is the second number. We're going to replace that into the equation. Minus 16t squared plus 64t plus 190. Let's replace it. And we're going to get 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 190. We can put that directly into the calculator, just the way you have it there. 16 parentheses 2 square plus 64 parentheses 2 plus 190. And that gives you a height of 254 if you put that directly into the calculator. So the answer to the first question is maximum height. This is the maximum height. Perfect. So now let's go to when it hits the ground. It hits the ground when the equation, the entire equation, is equal to 0. Okay. This is just like when we were factoring. And what we're going to do is we are going to use the a, b, and c to put it in the quadratic equation, which is what we're using in this lesson. So it's minus b plus or minus, big numbers, but that's okay. We have a calculator. We can manage that. B squared minus 4. A is minus 16 and C is 190 over 2A. 2 times negative 16. Perfect. So let's continue here. Well, I don't expect you guys to follow me, at the same speed, but again, you can rewatch this video and try to figure it out by pausing it. Let me do the 2 times negative 16, which is negative 32, and then just going to do this in the calculator. So it's going to be parenthesis 64 square, sorry, minus negative 16 times 190. So I'm entering that exactly as it appears there in my calculator. And it gives you a big number, 7,136. So now I'm going to see if that number has a perfect square root. Alright, it's going to be shift, and then I'm going to put that number there, and it doesn't have a perfect square root. That's 84.4748, and it has more decimal, but that's okay. Alright, does he say something about, no, okay. And now we are going to try to solve this equation. We have two of them, 64 plus 84.4748, and the other one is the negative. So x is equal to minus 64 negative, because it's two answers, 84.4748. all divided by negative 32. So we're going to get those two answers, and then we're going to check on the calculator to make sure that we got the right answer, right? So let's do minus 64 plus 84.4748, and that's going to be divided by minus 32. It's going to give me a negative 0.63. I'm not happy about that because it has to be time, and time is supposed to be positive. So let's try the second one. Minus 64 minus 84.4748 divided by minus 32, and that's much better. It gives you 4.64. So we're going to do this in the calculator to make sure that we did it right. So it looks like the maximum, the time that it will hit the ground is about 4.64 seconds. So let's bring out the calculator. Okay. And let's go back over here. Let's put it over here because I can't see the equation that way. Okay, we're going to go to menu again. We are going to delete the one that we did before, and I'm going to put that one, minus 16. I don't have a t, so I'm going to use an x, 64x plus 190. Alright, and if we draw it, oh, you know, we got lucky because we had that automatic feature from before. Let's see if we get the F5. We're going to get the maximum first. 2 and 264. Did we get that? 254 is correct, and the 2. So that was perfect. That's what we got in doing without the calculator. Now let's do the roots. One root is that one, and we're going to do that. It's about 5.98. So we might have made a miscalculation here, but if you notice, this is approximate 5, so we're going to leave it a 5 because this is what they want. We approximate that to a 5, so we are okay there. You might want to check some of the digits here to make sure that it's correct there, right? So let's see again, what was the number? 5.98, so that's almost 6 actually. Alright, almost 6. So there must be a little mistake there when I substituted the values, right? Minus 4, minus 16, A, B, and C. Possibly. Maybe I'll repeat that, but if I don't find it, I'll let you guys try to find. There's a small little problem there. Maybe I put the wrong number in one of the, let's see, 190. Let's see. Well, oh, I see what happened. I see. I put, instead of putting 190, I put 90. So that happens. It's 16,000 256. So when you get the square root of that number, it gives you 127. Big difference there. Alright, it gives you, this number is not that. Okay, so we got to correct that number. Sorry about that. So that gives you 127.5. Let's put 5 there, so makes it easy. 127.5. So your answers are not going to be this. That's why we have a discrepancy. Alright, so it's always good to check the calculator to make sure that the numbers are correct. So when you do this, I'm going to do the second one because we know that we're going to get a, well, we'll do both. Plus 127.5 gives you that, divided by minus 32. That looks better than before. This will give you negative 1.98. And now let's do the bottom, minus 64 minus, oh, we forgot to change this to 127. I'll change it in a moment. 0.5 divided by minus 32 gives you 5.98 positive. So now we have it right. Sorry. So let's change it to 127.5, and that gives you the right answer. So this is only teaching you that you need to check your answer a couple of times before you decide that that's the right answer. That gives you positive 5.98. So this is the answer. It's positive, and it's almost 6. So now we feel more confident about our answer than before. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. Again, you can watch this and re-watch it and see my mistakes and go forward and pause it and correct it, right? All right, let's go to question number 6. We're almost there. The length of a rectangle. So we have a rectangle. I like to always draw things. So the length of a rectangle, the length is the one on the bottom, is 3 more than twice the width. So if this is the width, this is going to be twice the width plus 3. Determine the dimension that will give you a total area of 27. What is the minimum area that this rectangle can have? Okay, so if we use the formula of length multiplied by width, and that gives you the area, this is going to be, I like to write it the other way if you don't mind, right? It's the same thing. The length is 2w plus 3. The width is just w. We're using the same variable, and the area is 27. If you multiply this, you're going to get 2w squared plus 3w, and bring the 27 on this side. This is going to be a parabola, which is a positive, so opens up, and this is going to be a minimum. So basically, they're asking me what is the minimum area of the rectangle. So we're going to have to find out what's the minimum here of the area. So area is, all right, we're going to have to find the x and the y here. All right, but we're not using x and y, we are using w. All right, so once we have this w, then we can put it here and see what's the minimum area in that location. All right, okay, so we're gonna have to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, minus b. The b value here is 3 times 2, and the a value is 2, So that will give you minus 3, and that will be a 4. So that gives you minus 3/4. Crazy number, right? Okay. So we can put this also on the calculator to make sure that we have everything up to speed, make sure that we're doing it right. And it's good to check at the very beginning so we don't make the same mistakes we did before. So let's delete this one. Okay, so and enter the equation, which I just covered with my calculator. That's going to be 2, and I don't have w, so I'm going to use x squared, right, plus 3w plus 3x minus 27. All right, and let's draw it, and we have something like this. So let's see what do they want. F5, we have the roots. One root is negative, and the other root is 3. That's positive. We also have a minimum value. Let's see what is the minimum value. It's negative 0.75, which is 3/4, and this is 28. So the area is not going to be correct because it's negative 28. So this is not possible to have that. So if we look at this, we realize that we can't have a negative value here. If we substitute the value of negative 3/4 into the equation, right, negative 3/4 into the equation plus 3 minus 3/4 minus 27, it tells you that it's going, according to the calculator, it's going to be minus 28.125, minus 28.125. You can do this also by yourself. So we realize it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. So maybe this particular equation, it is not possible to get that. Let me double check that answer is actually in the homework number 10. So let's see if we can go to our classroom, and this is homework number 10. So let's take a look at homework number 10 to make sure that that answer of impossible is there. Alright, let's see. Alright, no, there you go. Look at that. We have 9 and 3, 27 is the minimum, and 9 and 3, and no minimum. So this looks like this is our answer when we have the 3 as one of the roots, and we have no minimum. So yes, there is an answer for that, right? Because we got minus 3/4. Determine the dimensions. If you substitute, what was the value that we had to substitute? Sorry. Yeah, it's negative 3/4. If you substitute negative 3/4 here, that will be a problem. In the roots, what are the roots of the equation? Okay, the roots is negative 4.5. That's impossible because it's negative. So the other root is 3. So if you substitute the value here, you can use the quadratic formula also. That would be 3, and that would be 2 times 3, that's 6, plus 3 is 9. So the dimensions are 9 and 3. If we look at the roots, this root is not used, but this root is used, 3, 0. If you substitute the value, it gives you these two dimensions, but it's not going to be possible to have a minimum since the minimum is negative. So the right answer is there is no minimum in this particular case. All right, let's move on to next question, number 7. I believe I got to check it out because I didn't copy. What is it? Solve each equation by using the quadratic formula. I'm going to do one of them, and I'm going to let you guys do, because I've done a lot of quadratic equations, so I'm going to do one, and then I'll let you do the other 2 or 3. So the quadratic formula we know is minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. The value of a is 4, the value of b is 8, and the value of c is 7. In the previous exercise, you could also have done the quadratic equation to solve it. I didn't. I used the calculator. Plus or minus. You can use the calculator as long as you show me the little picture. H squared minus 4a is 4 and c is 7 over 2 times 4, which is a. So let's double check that we did this right. H squared minus 4ac. Perfect. Alright, this looks like a very straightforward question, right? This is 64 minus 4 times 4 is 16 times 7. That gives you 112 over 2 times 4 is 8. That will be a problem because it gives you a negative value. Minus 8 plus or minus 64. Alright, so we're gonna repeat the question to make sure that we have it entered correctly. Okay, that will give you negative 48 over 8. So this will give you a, let's see what I have as an answer for that question, because, okay. I see. Maybe we put something wrong. Let's double check to make sure we put this right? Minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4a is 4 and c is 7. Oh, we forgot to put this 4 back. Oh my goodness. You know what? I think that today's definitely not my day. I'm sorry about that. Oh my goodness. We have to probably change a c. My apologies to you. I forgot that there's a 4 here that has to be brought back here. So that's 4b squared plus ab plus 7 minus 4 equals 0. 4b squared plus ab plus 3 equals 0. So this is 3. Now we can do it again. I'm very sorry. Minus b is minus 8 plus or minus, and it's good, you know, the process of doing this exercise, sometimes it requires a little bit of extra work. Double checking for a and c, that's going to give you a different value. It's going to give you a positive value. 2a, which is 4. Okay, so we can continue. Okay, so that gives you 64 minus 4 times 4 is 16 times 3 gives you 48. And that gives you a. So now it's going to be minus a plus or minus 64 minus 48. That should not be a negative number. It's actually 16 over 8. So that's going to give you 2 answers. Minus a plus the square root of 16 is 4 over 8. And the other one is 8 minus 4 over 8. This is going to give you minus a plus 4 is minus. On the top, that will give you minus 4 over 8. That simplifies to negative 1/2. And this is negative a and negative 4. That's negative 12 divided by a. That simplifies to half of 12 is 6. Half of 8 is 4. Half of 6 is 3. And half of 4 is 2. So 3/2, or you can change that to a decimal negative 1.5. Either way, it's fine. So these are the 2 answers. Okay. So that's question number, what was it? 7. All right. I think it's worth it. Huh? You see, this is another one that has to be done. So let's do one correct, and I'll let you finish the last two by yourselves. All right. I think the last two. There you go. You got to put the 15 on the 5 on the other side and the 2. So they're basically the same questions. We're going to move this to this side, and then we're going to find out what is the equation in standard form. That's 2m squared minus 7m minus 13, and we're going to bring the 10 to this side, and we're going to get positive 10. 2m squared minus 7m, that will give you negative 3 equals 0. Now we can find out who's A, B, and C. A is 2, B is minus 7, and C is minus 3. We're going to replace that into the equation. Minus B, that's a minus and a minus, plus or minus, B squared minus 4A and C divided by 2A. All right. X is equal to positive 7 minus and a minus, plus or minus. Okay, 7 squared is positive 49. Negative and negative is positive. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So that's nice. You're going to have 2 times 2 is 4. So now we got plus 7 plus or minus, and 49 plus 24, it gives you 73, which doesn't have a perfect square root, but I believe this question, it's in the homework like that, and I'm going to accept that you can leave it like that. You don't have to. Let's take a look. Plus 7 plus or minus 73 equals 4, so that the answer is in the homework as choice number 2, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, that will be choice number 2. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let you finish this question, or maybe, I can't move it, sorry. Let me see what time we have. It's perfect. And we are going to ask you, maybe I'll do this question, so you only have one challenge to do one. So let's bring the 5 to this side, which will be negative 5. That will be equal 0, sorry. Square minus 3x, minus and the minus is minus 20. So the first thing we did is we have to move this 5, so we have a 0 there, right? And then you got A, B, and C. This will be 2 minus 3 minus 20. Let's substitute that into the equation. Minus B, right? Because it's a minus, and the minus from the formula, plus or minus B squared minus 4A and C, which is the 20. Okay, over 2A. Forgot to put the 2A. Okay, 2 times 2. Okay, now we're ready to continue. That gives you positive 3, negative here, and that will give you 9. Negative and negative is a positive. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 20 is 160 over 4. So that will give you x is equal to positive 3 plus or minus 160 plus 9 is 169 over 4. 169 has a perfect square root. It's 13. So x is equal to positive 3, positive negative. 169 has a perfect square root of 13 over 4. Now you have two answers. One is going to be the positive, and 1 is going to be the negative. Okay, 13 plus 3 is 16 divided by 4. It's 4. And 13 minus 3 is negative 10 divided by 4. We don't have a, it doesn't divide perfectly, but we can simplify. Half of 10 is 5. Half of 4 is 2. So you can write it like that, or you can write it like in decimal form, which is 2.5. So you have two answers. You accept both answers because they're not telling you that one is not acceptable. Alright, again, you can review this by pausing it, reviewing it. And we have one more question, which I'm going to let you do by yourself at home. Once you review all of them, you're going to have a chance to do that. On the exam on Tuesday, you're going to have all 10 questions. All 10 questions. So I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. Hopefully you heard this well, and this gives you a time to do it on your own. And I'm going to stop. Have a good day, everyone.